Hello, I'm John Rossi, a touring drummer with a love of all things animal. When I'm on the road, I visit as many zoos, aquariums... Hey, wait a minute. What's going on? Hey, what's going on there? Hello? Hello? We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you Rossifari Zoo News. News you can use from the world of zoos and conservation. Every week, we bring you breaking news and analysis from around the globe, featuring the animals you love and the people who care for them. And here's your anchorman, John Rossi.
Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to Rossifari Zoo News, your look at everything going on in the world of zoos, aquariums, conservation, and general animal weirdness. So before we get to the actual zoo newsy stuff, I tend to fill this spot with a variety of things, and I actually have kind of a lot of things to talk about this week. So sit back, relax, and we'll get through some of that stuff. First of all, I don't know what happened. I think something happened with my Notes app the last few weeks, or maybe I just suck. I don't know. But at least 4 people, maybe 5 now, it's been a couple of weeks, who are all regular contributors to the podcast, send me a lot of zoo news stuff, have all reached out to say that I haven't been saying their names at the end of the episode. And I'm not going to lie, when I get to that name list, I keep the list, but I'm pretty fried from doing the episode. So I'm not catching if I miss somebody. And so I don't know if I messed something up or the list didn't carry over properly between devices or what. But I do want to say an apology to anyone who reached out and anyone who might not have. If I haven't said your name when you've contributed to the episodes, I'm really sorry. I appreciate everyone who sends me anything. And yeah, I feel terrible about it. And of course, literally everybody who reached out did it in a very loving and kind of joking way. Nobody was mean about it. Y'all are the best. You know that. But I feel terrible. I like getting, recognition for my contributions to things, and I'm guessing that y'all do too. So I do apologize to anybody who I missed, and hopefully you are all on the list now. With that being said, Strix was the first one to reach out, and that has become a little bit of a joke in the saying of the names. And while I'm not going to do that to all of you, Strix, I'm probably going to keep picking on you in that because, well, as we all know, I commit to the bit stronger than almost anybody. So yeah, but sorry about that to everyone who I may have missed. Second of all, I posted about this on the socials, but in case you missed it, go see Hoppers. It is the new Disney Pixar animated film. It has some really interesting conservation messaging in it. A lot of really great animal jokes. And one thing that I really love is that it's the main character in the story is very flawed. And the way that she is very flawed in part is because she is very passionate and does the wrong thing because she is passionate. And that's honestly a story that doesn't get told enough, but that I see a lot in conservation. And we've had people on the podcast talking about that and stuff. And I was really emotional watching all of that. It really touched me deeply. So I highly recommend going and checking it out. The humor is really funny. The animation's incredible. I don't even understand how they animate water anymore. Not to turn this into a complete ramble, but it just looks like real water. It's insane. I have a friend who does animation at Disney Studios, not in the Pixar area, and he does animation lighting and specifically does a lot with the water stuff. And he's even explained some of it to me, and I still don't understand how they've gotten this good at it. It's insane. But anyway, go see Hoppers. Highly recommend it. When I went, the theater was basically full, and it wasn't just like me and Miles and a couple of animal lovers. It was everybody had multiple laugh out loud moments and was emotionally touched by the film. It was awesome. I haven't seen that big of a reaction from a theater audience, like at a movie, since probably Avengers Endgame. So that was really cool. It wasn't that big. That was, if you guys were there, you know what happened in Endgame, but it was very cool to see that. Okay, so next up is, as y'all know, I am on my trip now. By the time this comes out, I am in the start of my trip to go to a bunch of zoos and do a bunch of interviews, and also go to AZA Midyear and the ABMA/IAATE Joint Conference. So lots of stuff, lots of interviews, lots of conferencey things. And first of all, I wanted to say, for anybody who's listening who is going to be at Midyear, I'm so excited. I'm going to see so many of you. I will be speaking twice at Midyear. I don't remember if I had mentioned that I might be speaking at Safe Tree Kangaroo or not. It was kind of up in the air, but I figured I was. But now that is official. So I will be presenting at the Safe Tree Kangaroo meeting and at the Safe Red Panda meeting. We're actually also doing a Safe Partner update, a Zoom today, which I'm really excited about. I guess it's a Teams meeting, whatever. Anyway, I'm recording this very early, this intro part. I'm recording on Tuesday before I head out for my adventure, and I'm about an hour away from getting to give a presentation to a bunch of our institutional partners for Safe Red Panda. So I'm really excited about that. And I still kind of can't believe that Rossifari has led me here and to all of this. It's very exciting. So yeah. But so if you're at the conference, come see me, reach out, let me know you're there. We'll meet up. It'll be fun. Yeah. And then, I guess the last thing that I wanted to say in this section, and that I kind of needed to address, is just that with this trip, I have no idea what's going to happen the next couple of weeks with the podcast. I will, do my best to get out normal episodes and Zoo News episodes, but Zoo News might be short, or I might make one of my recap episodes the Zoo News for the week instead of the interview episode like I normally do. I don't know. It used to be that I would go to these conferences and I'd stay there till like 5, and then I would just be in my hotel room all night because I didn't know people and didn't have things and whatever. But as I've become more integrated in the AZA world, and also just had a lot more friends at these places, my days often go from like 7 a.m. until like midnight. So I will do my best, but don't be surprised. There will be something. You will have something to listen to, but don't be surprised if the next couple weeks are shorter episodes or a little bit of a tweak from what we're used to. But y'all, I'm not going to spoil it all right now, but the interviews that I have lined up are so good. So good, just so good. And I think it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've already got at least 7 confirmed, with more potential than that we're still finalizing details on. So anyway, that is the exciting news. That is everything that is coming up. Coming up? I just said coming up. I'm very good at what I do. But yes, this is Rossifari Zoo News, and we are going to now get to, the Zoo News. All right. So I recorded that intro the other day and told you that things were going to be changing, and things have already been changing because I've been doing a bunch of work for the SAFE presentations that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to treat this episode a little differently, even though I said it's going to be a normal episode, but I'm going to do a deep dive on just a couple of things that have been happening. For those of you that like the deep dive episodes, congratulations, you're getting one. And for those of you who don't, I am sticking my tongue out at you right now. No, but just a few things that I want to talk about. And actually, the first one of them is something that has been a tradition to discuss on this podcast since it started. And I kind of have had an evolving take on it over the years, so I wanted to not only share it with you, but I wanted to share kind of how I'm thinking about it now with you. And what I am talking about is that, yet again, USA Today has come out with their list of the top 10 zoos in the United States. And there are some other lists as well, including exhibits and stuff like that. But the main one, the big exciting one, is the top 10 zoos. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that my take on this has always been pretty negative because it is entirely based on voting. And some zoos really encourage their followers to vote. And some zoos don't give a care. And because of that, you get a weirdly imbalanced list every single year. And so my initial take on this was that it was just a stupid exercise in getting clicks and that it didn't matter and that I would run through the list really quick, but ultimately tell you all to not care about it because really, who cares, right? It's just who can get the most clicks. But as I've become more involved in the social media side of the zoological world, and as I've worked more with the teams at various zoos, the PR teams or whatever their title may be, I have come to understand that while all of these are just, a way for USA Today to get a bunch of clicks and good on them for doing it, the zoos that do participate in this actually take a lot of pride in the fact that their fans are willing to vote for them. And when I say participate, I'm not just talking about the ones that are nominated, because again, there are plenty of zoos that are nominated that don't interact with this at all or barely do. They might put up one or two posts, while there are other zoos that ask for votes almost daily and encourage their fan base to vote and get them excited and then use that to connect with them more and to help those people feel a sense of ownership of the accomplishment if they do make it into the top 10. So yeah, surprisingly, my take on this has evolved, and I've gone from thinking it is kind of silly to thinking it's really cool for the zoos that are able to use it as a tool to reach their fans. And that's very different than saying that I think it is a good list of the top 10 zoos in the country. It's not. One thing, and the big thing that I always like to point out, is that the San Diego Zoo, they usually put up one or two posts asking people to vote, but they don't really care. And I need to look at the list again here. I'm talking off the cuff right now, but I'm pretty sure they didn't even make the top 10. And that's just criminally offensive. The San Diego Zoo absolutely deserves to be in the top 10, but they're not because they didn't really try to get people to vote for them. But for the zoos that are in the top 10, it does mean something. It means that you're connecting with your audience, you're building, you're asking them to help. And I kind of think that's actually a beautiful thing. So I'm going to take a tour through the top 10 list with y'all and give some thoughts as we go. All right, so the number 10 zoo in the country for 2026 is Sedgwick County Zoo. And y'all know that I have been there and shared some great episodes from there and have a lot of respect for this zoo. And I think it's their first time hitting the list. And I think that's really cool. They have some really amazing stuff there, including a ton of baby elephants right now. And it's really cool to see them on the list. And I've enjoyed seeing their posts because they're very proud of being on the list. And again, I know I just harped on this, but it really shows that their fans went out of their way to get them on the list. And that's very cool. Number 9 is the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens in Palm Desert, California. And I have been there, and it is amazing. It is a zoo that is kind of cut into the California wilderness, and it is very different. I would say I've only ever been to one or two zoos that are like that. So again, seeing them on this list is absolutely fantastic. Coming in at number 8 are our friends at the North Carolina Zoo. And keep in mind, this is before their huge Asia expansion opens. So my guess is they'll be climbing the list even further next year. It's a wonderful zoo. They also have botanical gardens there. And it is the largest natural habitat zoo in the world. It is a huge facility. And part of that is area that they don't use yet, or that is the Asia section that isn't open to the public yet. And don't you worry, we will be covering that for the podcast. I'm looking forward to that. But it's just such a cool place. There's also an iconic desert dome area there that is really fantastic. So yeah, big fan of the North Carolina Zoo. Number 7 is the San Antonio Zoo. And again, just a great place. They just recently opened up their Congo Falls area, which has 7 gorillas in it. And it's the first time the zoo's had gorillas for 35 years. And San Antonio has some really cool sections of the zoo. There's some unique design, unique architecture, and yeah, very, very cool place. Also, if you ever go to San Antonio to go to the zoo, don't forget there is a sea life aquarium there. And also the river walk in San Antonio is just divine. At number 6, we've got the St. Louis Zoo, and it is one of the few zoos that is still free to the public in the country, and it's very cool. They have 2 things there that I'm particularly obsessed with. Their reptile house is this old, but not in a bad way, like old, like classic building, and it's got this kind of almost hidden second floor, and there's this area where you walk in where there are all these just kind of open pools with really cool, unique turtle species in them. It's actually the building when I was first getting into zoos. I was there very early on, and it's where I discovered black-breasted leaf turtles, which are one of my favorite species and a truly underrated turtle species. And it's just wonderful there. There's also an area, their big cat area, where you can stand. I don't even really know how to describe this, but it's kind of like a hill. And at the top of it, you can be in a place where you can look into like the corners and look down on like 4 or 5 cat habitats. And it's really amazing. I think, again, it's been years since I've been there, but I think I remember seeing like Amur leopards, snow leopards, and like lions all at the same time from this point. And you're like looking down into the habitats. So very funky area, very cool. Number 5 is, again, a great friend of the podcast, Brevard Zoo in Melbourne, Florida. And one of the really cool things there is that there is a canopy walkthrough in their South American jungle habitats. But the coolest thing is that you can go on a kayaking trip at the zoo through their African savanna area. And you're actually kayaking, and you have a guide in a different kayak, but it's a whole group of people in kayaks. And yeah, one of the most unique things that I have ever done at a zoo, and I'm a big fan. Number 4, again, great friend of the podcast, Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Gardens, and just a wonderful area. I really like Jacksonville in general, and I think a lot of people who go to Florida kind of miss Jacksonville because there's so much stuff, whether you're going to Orlando or all the way down to Miami or whatever, or the beaches. Jacksonville isn't maybe the most famous part of Florida, but if you're driving into the state, especially from like the East Coast, you're going to have the chance to drive past there, and the zoo alone makes it worth it. But it's also just a great community, really cool coffee shops, lots of really cool stores, lots of vintage stuff, things that I just really like. So if you've never been, highly recommend going there. Number 3, and this one's kind of interesting. So for the last couple years, the top 3 zoos have had a lot of competition. All 3 of them have member groups online that are dedicated to getting everyday votes from people, and I gotta say this, it's not the actual zoos doing the thing, but they're cheerleaders, big fans in these membership groups that push people to vote every single day and put up reminders. And when I started covering this, the biggest place you saw that was the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens, and they would win every year. Now they're down to number 3, which is still incredible. But it is interesting to see how these 3 every year kind of play out at the top and how much they're able to engage with their fans. And obviously the Cincinnati Zoo is not only one of the oldest zoos in the nation, but one of the most famous. Fiona lives there. They have some incredible manatee rehabilitation areas. The red pandas there are some of the cutest. Their staff is incredible. Y'all know I love the Cincinnati Zoo, and so it's great to see them up so high on the list. Number 2, who again also does a lot. I have to give them a shout out. So Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is number 2. And y'all know I went there earlier this year, and it's one of the most breathtaking zoos I've ever been to, and just a fantastic place. Their social media push to get votes was so well done this year. And the reason why I say that is that instead of saying to vote for the zoo, they posted pictures of their animals and said to vote for the animals. So their red panda is named Cora with a C. It's not the Cora with a K from Columbus. And they would post this big thing that says, vote for Cora. And vote for Sam, the tree kangaroo. And it was just such a great way. And I talked at the beginning about how you can use this to connect people to your facility. And Cheyenne Mountain Zoo actually used it to connect people to their individual animals as well as the facility, which, as you know, is a big component of what I do and my strategy in helping people care about animals. So I loved seeing that campaign. Mad props to the team at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, and congrats on making it to number 2. And then number 1 is Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium. And this is a facility that absolutely deserves all of the props. It is huge. It has one-of-a-kind experiences. There are multiple domes that you can go in when the weather is bad, and they are unlike anything I've seen at another facility. I am absolutely obsessed with Henry Dorley. So, very cool. Congrats to them. And again, it's just so amazing to see that so many fans continued to vote day after day. This is open for a long time, and to give them the number 1 spot again. So congrats to Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium. With that said, again, do I think this is a perfect list? Absolutely not. The San Diego Zoo is not on there. The Columbus Zoo is not on there. The Bronx Zoo is not on there. Right away, those are 3 of my favorites. When people ask me the best zoos to go to in the United States, I always say those 3 along with Henry Dorley and Cincinnati, with which, they are on the list. So it has its issues. But also, zoos don't change that much year to year. So I guess if the list was just static, it wouldn't work for USA Today very well. So there will always be a little cynicism from me in looking at these lists, but I do have to say that overall, I think it's pretty darn cool to see these zoos getting the props for this. And then just going quickly through some of the other lists that just came out that are also there and also important. One of them that I like is the 10 best zoo memberships. And coming in at number 10 is the Oklahoma City Zoo. Number 9 is the Louisville Zoo. Number 8 is San Antonio. Number 7 is Living Desert. Number 6 is the St. Louis Zoo. Number 5 is North Carolina. 4 is Brevard. 3 is Cincinnati. 2 is Cheyenne Mountain. And 1 is Henry Dorley. So a lot of those are the same exact zoos in the top 10 because obviously you've got the same people voting, in these different categories. But then that makes it so cool when you see something like the fact that the Louisville Zoo made it on there, right? So that's pretty cool. Then there's also a 10 best safari parks category. Number 10 is Out of Africa Wildlife Park and Sanctuary in Camp Verde, Arizona. Number 9 is Catoctin Wildlife Preserve in Thurmont, Maryland. I actually grew up going to that zoo a bunch, and it's, I think of it as more of a zoo than a wildlife park, but I also haven't been there in many years, so I'll let it slide. Number 8 is the North Georgia Wildlife and Safari Park in Cleveland, Georgia. Number 7 is the Bryan Preserve in Point Arena, California. Number 6 is Bearizona Wildlife Park in Williams, Arizona. Number 5 is Safari West in Santa Rosa, California. Number 4 is Keystone Safari in Grove City, Pennsylvania. Number 3 is The Wilds in Cumberland, Ohio, which is, of course, the safari park that is run by the Columbus Zoo. Number 2 is the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And number 1 is the Lee G. Simmons Wildlife Safari Park in Ashland, Nebraska. They also cover the 10 best zoo exhibits, and at number 10 is the David A. Stratz Jr. Manatee Critical Care Center at Zoo Tampa. Number 9 is the Flamingo Mingle at the San Antonio Zoo. Number 8 is the Toyota Elephant Passage at Denver Zoo Conservation Alliance. Number 7 is the Reed Family Elephants of the Zambezi River Valley at Sedgwick County Zoo. Number 6 is the Primate Expedition Cruise at Naples Zoo and Caribbean Gardens. And don't forget, we did a whole episode on that. Number 5 is Australian Adventures at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens. Number 4 is Penguin and Puffin Coast at the St. Louis Zoo. Number 3 is Hippo Cove at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. Number 2 is Rocky Mountain Wild at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. And number 1 is the Desert Dome at Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo. So as you can see, Cincy and Cheyenne Mountain and Omaha really kind of ran away with a lot of these. But it's really cool to see all of this stuff, and especially to give some props to the various zoos that maybe only made it in for one category. So congrats to all the winners. And then there's another topic that I wanted to harp on this week after a couple of different things happened. And so many of y'all shared these various things with me, and I super appreciate that. So it seems like, although, there's no evidence that this is exactly what's going on, but it seems to me like the anti-zoo crowd or some jerks in some capacity have been finding some new ways to attack zoological facilities. 2 of these things happened this week, and they are really frustrating. So the first one that I want to talk about is this week, Zoo Miami underwent not 1, but 2 bomb threats. And both of them led to the evacuation of the zoo and its closure for the rest of the day. That is insidious because, first of all, it's, scary. We are in a crazy world right now, and bomb threats are, let's just say that war is on everyone's mind, and weapons are on everyone's mind, and that's terrifying. Second of all, Zoo Miami is huge, like really stinking big. So to get the cops in, to search the whole place, to go through everything, even just to evacuate the place is so much work for so many people. And it has to be terrifying. It has to be terrifying for the guests and staff that leave. It has to be impossible for the staff that have to leave to not know if their animals are going to get blown up, all of that stuff. So this has now led to Zoo Miami instigating new, stricter security procedures and screenings when you go into the zoo. And that honestly sucks for everyone. They'll do it, and you do the thing. But it's just so gross. And to my knowledge, the police have not had any success in finding the people that are doing this. And 2 straight days. I believe it was the weekend too. So I think they lost all of the money that they would have from people that want their refunds and buying things, and people who are now afraid to go back. It's just really gross. And then the other one is a digital attack. There is an article going around that claims falsely that there is an urgent search underway after newborn orangutan Kiko disappears from Zoo Atlanta. Now, let me tell you, just because I have the connection and I wanted to be able to say this, I already knew it was fake, but I did reach out to my connections at Zoo Atlanta, and they were like, yes, obviously this is fake. Thank you for letting us know that you're seeing it and people are concerned about this, because that's important to address. But it's really frustrating. It is, the article that is going around is really, really in depth. And I'm looking at it now, and it's like, I don't know, over a dozen paragraphs. I'm not going to count, but it talks about everything. It is honestly one of the most believable fake articles that I've seen with the zoo stuff. Normally it gets really dumb, but this talks about the reaction of the animals, the reaction of the staff, what people are seeing, how they found out about it, and it's all really believable. Like, this was not done poorly, which is unfortunate, because when we talk about the AI stuff and everything, we talk about the fact that if you really look at things with a wise eye, you can figure it out. But the only reason I knew this was fake was because Zoo Atlanta is transparent. And if they were missing a baby orangutan and it was out in the press anyway, especially, they would have shared that with everybody and tried to figure out what was going on. So yeah, I'm not going to even go into all of the details of the story because they are fake, but it's just further proof that people are just putting anything out there right now for clicks, and also if you can accomplish your goal of hurting zoos or aquariums or whatever, then bonus, I guess. I don't know. It's really disturbing. But this is yet again your reminder to just make sure you're looking at everything with a critical eye. That actually reminds me of something else that I've seen a lot of lately, which is there are these AI-generated images of animals, really exotic animals, in weird situations and acting like they really happened. So I don't know if it's just my algorithm or what, but I have seen a red panda that was found, again, I'm air quoting all of this, it's all fake, but hanging from a chandelier at a dinner party, a binturong, which was laying across a checkout lane at a grocery store. There was a tree kangaroo one. I can't for the life of me even remember what stupid thing it said. But it's actually funny. The ones I have seen are animals that I'm heavily invested in. And, it's terrible. And it's obviously AI images, although I got to tell you, they're looking better than one might hope or expect. And, yeah, I just don't quite know what to do about that other than to tell you all to keep your eyes open. One of the interesting things about it is I talk a lot about the fact that, I love that on my social media pages, I'm able to introduce people to these species like tree kangaroos and binturongs. And one of my favorite things is when you get thousands of responses that say, oh my goodness, this is awesome. And I didn't even know that this animal exists. And these fake posts are getting the same thing. And I think someday somebody is going to do an analysis of all of the bad that these fake AI things have done, but we'll also have to acknowledge that there is some good that they have accomplished. And like the number of people, especially with the Binturong one that I saw that were saying like, oh my gosh, I'm going to look these guys up. Whoa, that's crazy. It made me happy to see that it was having that effect, even though the entire thing made me want to vomit. So yeah, not my favorite thing, and I wanted to share that with y'all. But it does have that interesting side to it. And speaking of interesting sides of things, the last thing I'm going to talk about this week before we get to our animal holidays is simply this. Last week, I asked y'all to reach out to me and tell me what you thought about the story pertaining to penguins at the Edinburgh Zoo getting painted rocks from kids in the hospital, and how I loved it in theory, but also was concerned that the messaging was kind of like, hey, taking rocks out of nature and painting them is cool, even though that's not what the zoo was doing, arguably. I assume they're not taking thousands of rocks out of nature. I never actually read that, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're probably purchased rocks, right? But so a whole bunch of you reached out to me about this, and you all think I'm an idiot. Okay, not really. You're all very kind. But every one of you that I spoke to about this definitely came from the perspective that I was overthinking it, and that most people will not draw the comparison between kids in a hospital painting on rocks that were purchased and given to zoo animals with, oh, I should go into the forest and steal rocks and paint them and all of the other things. So not one of you thought my concern was valid. And that is totally fine. I appreciate everyone who reached out. It actually made me feel better about it because I did. I wondered if I was overthinking it. And apparently y'all think so. So I am okay with that. And that brings us to...
Oh, animal holidays. Animal holidays. Hey!
All right, so it is March, which is, of course, my birth month and Dolphin Awareness Month. And then for the individual days this week, we've got a bunch. So the 20th is World Frog Day and World Sparrow Day. The 21st is the International Day of Forests and Save the Florida Panther Day. The 22nd is World Water Day and International Day of the Seal, 2 days that go well together. The 23rd is Chinchilla Day, World Bear Day, Coyote Day, and National Puppy Day. So I guess if you are a coyote puppy, you get celebrated twicely. The 25th is National Peacock Day, Stork Day, and Manatee Appreciation Day. And the 26th is Cory Bustard Day. And I have to tell y'all, I was at the Smithsonian Zoo with my good friend Laura Schenk, and we were walking around outside the birdhouse, and I saw Cory Bustards, and I was like, Cory Bustards, I love these guys. They're such cool looking birds. And then I remembered that when I first started doing things for Rossifari, I got to see a Cory Bustard, and I remember the keeper was like, hey, have you seen our Cory Bustards? And my response was, no. Who's Cory Bustard? And it wasn't like a joke. I genuinely didn't know. So nice reminder of just how far I've come since those days. But yes, those are your animal holidays for the week. All right, so there you have it, folks. I have a lot of really fun stories that I'm sure we'll get to eventually. But like I said, we'll see what the next couple weeks hold for zoo news and all that other stuff. But I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate y'all loving all of these different styles of episode and being so supportive of me and the podcast and all the things. I do want to take a moment to say thank you in particular to my patrons, and especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Schenk, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, Melissa Reed, Carrie Kirkpatrick, John Lewis, who is also here for stickers, Kevin Williams, and Cormac McMuffin. I also want to say thank you to everyone who contributed stories this week, and hopefully I'm no longer missing any names on this list, but let me know if I am, and that list is Anya Keene, Colleen Linehan, Kim Cooley-Croninger, Carrie Kirkpatrick, Kevin Williams, Emily Rockbuck, Dr. Natalie Taco, Taran Hanton, Dr. Laura Shank, Ren Howell, Jacob Zinn, Kevin Williams, Holly Page, Nikki Morley, Dr. Zoe Rossi, Barbara Bennett, Ken Tryon, Marianne Rossi, and Yoshioka. Ali Malensky, Kay Malensky.
The Malenskys.
April Taylor, Daniel Cohen, Kenny Palawi, Rowena White, Zach Poe, Crystal Chapman, Jamie Chavez, Kristen Khalil, Maddie Patz, Jennifer Zune, Becca Robinson, Strix, the person I forget every time her name is Strix, Michael Sebastian, Melissa Kinney, Rick Schwartz, and Sierra Bowen. Thank you all so much for contributing to this week's episode and Zoo News in general, since, let's be honest, most of you sent me things that didn't make this week's episode, but you know what I mean, and you know I love you. With all of that said, we'll be back on Tuesday with a really fun interview episode. I'm going to be dropping an interview with Delaney Sevchik, who y'all may remember. She is one of the sea lion trainers at Wildlife World Zoo, and I just love her as a human. And she's been on a fun journey. She actually has kind of become the face of the zoo on social media. And so we talk about that a lot, as well as some training stuff and her team and just all the things, because I can talk to Delaney all day, every day, because she's an amazing human. So that's going to be a good time. And then we'll be back on Friday with, I don't know, something. We'll find out. But until then, remember, friends, the words Newsy credits backwards are Steiderk Yiswen.
The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.
And number 10 is Oklahoma.